Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Who has better customer service than Regents Park or Boca Raton? I don't know of any place. Of course, you know, if you're feeling well and you don't have a reason to go there, then you wouldn't know that. But you ought to. I was talking to Leslie Curtis, of course, who's a business development manager over there at Regents Park or Boca Raton. And I was saying maybe she should go to all the department stores, go to all the businesses and teach them. I mean, because it is a lot easier when you call your facility. It definitely is right. People, if you're not there, they're going to find somebody.
They do. I mean, we really work very, very hard at it. I think it's one of the most important programs we have. You know, I mean, all the facilities, have nursing and therapy, and of course, I think ours is the best, but you have to have that customer service, and you have to be able to be ready to apologize if you screw up.
Well, the one thing, Leslie, that's interesting, and I've always told her, when you do the expos, and you've done all of our expos, you can see when people say, well, I really did well, and when people say, well, I didn't have any business, but you watch them. They sit at their little booth, They're on their phone, people walk by where you're right out there in front talking to everybody. It's just an attitude, Leslie. It
really is. And you're right. At the expo, you see people sitting there on their phones, and then they wonder why they get no traction. You have to be able to engage with people. You have to love what you're doing, And I think so many people, it's just a job.
Yeah.
I mean, today was a crazy morning. It was all customer service stuff, And most of it was people that weren't even in yet. So, but that's where it starts before they even roll through the door. You have to engage and understand what's important to them, and that's what makes the job fun. If you don't do that, then it really is just a job.
Well, and I don't know if you're this way, but if I don't know an organization and I'm just trying to get information, whether I'm calling about someone going into, a rehab center, or if I'm just calling a store, a paint store, whatever I'm calling, if I don't get an answer or something, I just go to the next one.
Right.
And you spend a lot of money, your organization spends a lot of money for advertising and publicity, and if it comes and you're not there to handle it, what's the good?
Right. Then it's a waste. It's a waste. It's true, and even myself, if our beds are full and I'm trying to refer someone to a different facility and I'm on hold, nobody answers the phone, I have to leave a voicemail. It's like, why am I working so hard to give you business? That's my name making the referral. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one that I think might be a good facility, but it's true. It's your reputation really is so tied in with outcomes, certainly, but customer service.
And nowadays, a lot of people use the internet and they use other things, emails. They don't use telephones as much. So if they're on the phone, because I still think in our business, people 50 plus, the phone's very important. They want to know what the person sounds like, what their company's like, and especially when someone's sick or someone needs the kind of medical care that you provide. I think that the phone is everything.
Well, it is, and when people are trying to find a facility and they don't know anything about it, nothing, zero, nada, and they call and they're in crisis because their loved one is sitting in the hospital, they don't know what questions to ask. They don't know anything. I mean, I've had a lot of those this week. I don't know why, but they seem to come in spurts, where, it's always, I would like you to come in and I can sit and talk to you because you're more able to pull out of them what their needs are. Over the phone, you just can't always tell. Because they don't know what to ask. They don't even know what they're looking for half the time. It's
it's very foreign. People, we take this for granted. You and I and a lot of our friends who've been in the healthcare field, and there's still areas that you may not know, and I don't know because it's not specific. But on the hand, mostly we pretty much understand what's going on. But you take someone who is absolutely never had anybody sick. They don't know what's going on, whether it's for themselves or someone else. They're scared to death.
Yep.
There's so many opportunities out there. They're good, they're bad. you can be the angel, and you do have something at Regents Park. What do you call them?
Guardian angel.
Guardian angel. I love that.
Yeah.
So you could be the guardian angel to whether they're going to be right for your organization or not. They'll never forget that, Leslie.
Well, and a lot of times, people will come in just to tour. And I know it's not a good fit, or I don't have a bed. But I'll take the time with them to find out what their needs are so I know where to refer them to. Because that's important, and sometimes that's a half hour, 45 minutes with somebody that you're not going to even admit. But it's the right thing to do. I would hope that somebody would do that for me. Like you said, what do I know about painting or whatever, help me out here. I don't know, so it's just.
Yeah, it's an attitude. But I will say that Regents Park is really known, or at least any place you are. I mean, look, you weren't always at Regents Park, but every place that you go or you're at, that's something that you just, it's obvious that there's training that goes on there, and that you would fall off your chair if someone were to be mistreated at the front when they came in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would hear the screams from here. What are you doing? Yeah, because because you're a nurse to begin with, you've been doing this for so many years, and you pride yourself on when you say, I'm from Regents Park of Boca Raton, you don't want anyone to say, well, I heard that someone said when you're there, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And you'll always, look, again, people are sick, the families are in crisis. You have to understand that there are times that no matter what you do, you're not going to make somebody happy.
And I have to jump in here. I referred someone to you once. He has since passed away. And I told him how wonderful it was. First, he complained he was at a different place, and he complained. And I said, I told you not to go there to begin with. You should go to Regents Park. And he did. And he started complaining. and I got you on the phone, and thank goodness I knew you enough, and you went there and you checked on it. And you said, it's his attitude. It's his problem. It isn't really other people. And you corrected anything you could. He absolutely was the problem. And so you're going to have that.
Right.
But you're there because you want to solve the problem.
Yeah, you fix what you can, some people they don't like their aide because they have an accent.
They don't like themselves. That's the
right.
problem, Leslie.
There are things like that you can't fix that. I can fix your bed. I can get
fix
you a new
food,
remote,
and you can
your
have
food.
Yeah.
But I can't fix, long-standing views on life.
Yeah.
And so you run into that. Most of the time, you can fix the issues. A lot of times, they just want to talk to someone. It's that simple. Either them or the family. Family doesn't know what to do. I mean, you just have to sit and talk to them. Try to feel them out.
And something you have there, whenever you have a party, I always meet some of your residents.
Right.
And your residents, some of them are so happy. And so they love Regents Park. And I would say, put someone like that into the room with someone who's a crank.
Yeah.
Say, just go talk to them. Ask them, because maybe they would respect them more. I don't know. They think that maybe we're not in their same world.
Right.
But I would use them. I don't know, your guardian angels, they're usually your staff, but maybe you have to have a few residents and put those hats on them.
We do have 2 residents that are resident volunteers. And they do various things, and they there's 2 of them that run the services on Friday, the Jewish services. They run the services. And they get quite a draw. So, they do things.
Oh, they run the services.
Yeah.
Well, that and people must love that.
Well, they do.
Oh, they do, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
But again, for the long-term residents, you want to involve them in as many things as you can.
Right.
Short-term rehab patients, those are the tougher ones.
Right.
Simply because they're scared, they're in pain.
Well, let's talk about Regents Park for a moment. You do have 2 separate, they're all in one building, but they're 2 separate goals. One is short-term rehab, and the other long-term living.
Right.
and you do separate it, which is very good. That's important.
Right.
But yet you do take care of both kinds of people in the same facility.
Absolutely. We have our long-term residents, and a lot of them are really fun. You get to know them. And then we have our short-term residents that are, there for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, depending on what brought them to us. Some of them are there for a much longer time. But, you take the time, the nursing staff gets to know them. You get to know what they like, what they don't like, and do your best. If, a lot of times we need to call in psychiatry or psychology because they're really depressed. You know all about that, situational depression. You do your best by them. And
hold their hand.
Yeah.
Literally hold their hand.
Literally.
And then make them know it is going to be okay. And I know that you attract a certain quality because when you're interviewing, I don't know who interviews. Do you interview for staff?
No.
Somebody does there. I don't.
Yeah, usually it's the department head that would be interviewing. So if it's nursing, it's the director of nurses. Sometimes HR, but usually, it's based on the department that's hiring.
And I would think by now they would know who would make a very good employee there.
I think so. I mean, that's part of the interview process is, customer service. And it's really important. I can't, as well as I do, you go to a restaurant, the food might be great, but, the waiter or the waitress is not.
And sometimes the reverse, the waiter or waitress is great, but the food isn't
right.
good with it.
But either way, you don't go back.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Because it's like, wow. So, and it's with anything in life, but I think when you get into healthcare, it's so important because of what these people are going through. It's just
it's much worse. It's more critical. But yet, I'm glad you brought that up because I go sometimes to the bank. I still like to go into the bank, and I want so much when you see a different person. They never look up.
Mm-hmm.
They take your money, and then it's over. Sometimes they say thank you. Sometimes they don't. I want to go to the manager. I mean, I'm not on this crusade, but I want to go to the manager and say, that person has no skills for people.
Right.
And that happens in other places, too. And I see it, and I would tell you about CVS. I have no stock in CVS. I should buy some. When you walk in, I don't know, my CVS, you walk in, there's one person up at the counter, the cashier. Good morning, good afternoon. She's in the middle of a transaction. Hello, thank you for coming in. What is this? It's wonderful.
CVS and Publix. I love the Publix commercials.
Oh,
I think they're dynamite. But it's true. If you go into a Publix, and I don't have stock in Publix.
But we should get some.
Yeah.
Both of us.
But, if you can't find something, they really do what the commercial says they do. And that's how any business should be run. So, and like I say, in healthcare, it's so important.
And I will tell you, you're right about Publix, and I like Publix, and I've also loved the Fresh Market.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, lately, I won't tell you which one, I've been there, and some of the cashiers, they used to be very sweet, very friendly, and now they don't look at you, and it just goes right through. I said, thank you very much, and they may say thank you. I'm not sure. And that has really made an impression on me. Isn't that funny? Because I like the store, and I've been close to going to the manager there also and doing it, but then I become a crusader, and I decide not to do it.
Yeah.
But it does make a difference. I've noticed there's a difference, and I blame the manager.
Well, I always wonder if the service has always been good, and all of a sudden it's not, if they have a new manager.
I see.
Because you have unhappy staff. That's the other important component of customer service. The staff has got to be happy to be working there. Because if you've got staff that's not happy, you're not going to offer good customer service.
Good point.
So, it's twofold. You have to do things for the staff, make sure that they're happy. If you see somebody that kind of looks miserable, and everybody has a bad day, you ask them, are you okay?
Yeah, but maybe that's what I should say when I say, are you okay? And, something like that.
Yeah.
Let me tell everybody, I always fail to do this. I have so much fun when Leslie comes in. Leslie Curtis, She is the Director of Business Development at Regents Park of Boca Raton. Let me give you a phone number to call. You've heard us talking a lot about things that I'm sure you're shaking your head. Yeah, I want to go someplace that I need to get my parents to go to, or my mother or father, or we are going to have some rehab in our family. I really want to go see her. Phone number is 561-483-9282. That's 561-483-9282. Or go to their website. You'll see so many things on their website. You'll see you'll see the YouTubes that they do every time they come on. Well, it's actually called youtube.com/Regents Park Boca, but you'll find it. And Leslie's been there a long time. As I said, she's a nurse, and their website is regentsparkboca.com. Let me just give you a very fast rundown on their advertising. It's important. It's a family-owned and independently operated skilled nursing and rehab center. That's really what says everything. It means that it's not owned by a big corporation, and they don't have 10 and 20 of them around. It's one, and that's it, and they care about it. And their services include customized rehabilitation care, clinical capabilities, quality nursing, resident and visitor amenities, social activities, quality food service, and a free mobile app. Okay. I love that. So you can get right on there. But it is really it's a beautiful location. It's in Boca Raton. It's really very close to the Boca Mall in a residential community. And I know that you're very happy there.
I am. And we're right next to Verde Elementary.
Oh, do you see the kids?
Oh, yeah.
Do you get kids to come in there?
We get kids to come in from various schools, and one of our long-term residents goes to the school. I don't know how often she goes, but she goes to the school and meets with the kids. And, I'm
really?
not quite sure everything she does, but she's very active.
Think she reads to them or something?
I'm not sure. I have to ask her.
She actually walks out of. She walks across the street.
Well, she's in a chair, but she goes. She's got a little private duty with her part of the time.
I think this is a wonderful story.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of our long-term residents comes every year to the Boomer Expo.
And how? But
he makes his nephew bring him. He'll be very happy that it's going to be closer. But
isn't that something? So he comes.
Yep.
But we know that a lot of people come by bus, but how does he get there?
His nephew brings him.
Nephew brings him. Yeah. It reminds me, the last time we had one, it was raining, and the first person that came, she came in a wheelchair with her, I guess, daughter was pushing her. She was 92. She was there. She was so excited. So those are the people who are going to live for a long time and live a very happy life. And they're not going to be like I told you, my referral to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because we have probably about maybe 100 long-term residents and 80 short-term. Somewhere, that kind of varies. But so many of them are pretty active. They might not still be walking, but they're active. They're still reading. We have a book club for the long-termers. They just had a cooking class. I believe it was this morning. I could be wrong. They were making tacos. So they do fun things that they enjoy.
So when people say, I don't want to go to a nursing home, is that something that was prehistoric?
I believe so. And I'm not against people, I say living in place, not aging in place. It sounds much better. But if you're able to get around and do things, unfortunately, a lot of people that are living at home and would meet the criteria to be in a skilled nursing facility, they don't have the socialization. They sit there and watch TV. And I see it when we bring in a new long-term resident. What do? Watch TV. Well, that's about to change probably because once they get to know other residents and there's things to do, but that's what they've been doing because that's all they can do. So it's interesting. So I think it's, that's an old-fashioned notion from the old, institutional nursing homes. We have so many activities. They're always doing something.
And you actually have to have the activities. That's all run by the government. I mean, they require that you can't just have people sitting in bed.
No, you have to have an activities department. And
but yours are, I think you go overboard. I don't think it's
they
typical.
now have some activities in the evening. I think poker. And I mean, they have some activities at Pochino. I don't know. They're having, evening activities, which, not as many people attend, but I think
they should have them because people don't want to just go to their room.
Right.
And I'm glad that you're doing that. It makes a big difference.
It does. Anything you can do to improve the quality of somebody's life, whether they're, like I said, whether they're for short term or long term. We have a happy hour for our short term residents once a week. For the long termers, I think it's twice a week.
They say, "Let me out of here. I'm finished with rehab." Right? No, well, you can't. You're not finished.
No,
your bone has not healed, and
That's
you're
right.
going to fall. Right? So, but everyone wants to go home. I've never asked you this, but do you have a lot of 100-year-old pluses?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And again, things seem to come in spurts where all of a sudden, 1 week it's like, I don't think we've admitted anybody for short-term rehab under 90.
Short-term rehab.
Oh, yeah.
Under 90.
Over 90.
Oh,
90
over
plus.
90. I meant right.
Yeah. It's amazing. And they do well,
Yeah.
If they were relatively independent prior to the fall or whatever brings them to us. It could be just a decline in function because they ended up with a urinary tract infection or, things like that. And they just need to be tuned up so they can go home and be safe.
Tuned up. And to be
Hospital
safe.
will fix you, and then you're out.
Yeah, you won't get tuned up. That's
No.
true. No.
So
No. The other thing is when someone who's living in the nursing facility section and they pass away, I'll bet a lot of the residents have like a little memorial because they knew them.
right, we started, and I think we're going to do it twice a year. Where the first one we did was last year, and we were kind of new at it because we've never done it, but we had like a memorial or a celebration of life. That's what we called it.
Yeah.
And we had all the pictures up of the people.
Oh,
and
that's great.
Some of the residents read poems. And, I mean, it was really very touching.
That is so nice.
So that's one of our...
That may even be a good article sometime to talk about
Yeah.
that. It is a community now. It's...
Right. Well, we were talking, Jennifer, the social services director, and I were talking. I said, we should do more than, they've lost a friend. So, yeah, that was really touching. That really was. So that was our first one. And, we had hospice helped us with some of the things. But, yeah, it was really good. And it was touching, like I said, when the residents got up there and read some poetry or...
Well, when you think of it, Leslie, some of them don't have any other family anymore, and they're just there, and that's their family. Everyone is their family. And as you said, picture them at their home.
Yeah.
Even if they had an aide. What a boring life that must be when they could be somewhere where there really is celebration.
Right. So it's and it's always sad when we lose somebody that's been there for a long time. We all feel.
Yeah, of course. But we know that people who are there. What was the age of the oldest person, at least since you've been there?
Since I've been there, I think 105.
I was just going to say, was it 105?
Yeah.
Well, at our Cure Symposium, someone just said that they had maybe it was Dr. Menzie, 109-year-old, and I forget what the person was doing. They were not just sitting in a chair. It was something else.
Yeah.
So I think you better get ready because you're going to have a lot more 105-year-olds.
I think so. And, I think, and I could be wrong.
They're
I don't have the
telling
numbers.
you what you should be doing in your job.
Right. Yeah. But, I think they do better when they're with us because, number one, we're engaging them, and some can't, but, and they have things to do. We're not looking at their health once a year or when they decide to go to the doctor. They have a doctor following them. Mm-hmm. So if something starts to brew, it's taken care of right away. So they really do quite well.
People are scared. Once they're aging and they start to get disease, they're scared if they're alone. They need somebody to be there watching over them. I mean, they can't get to the doctor all the time. And,
Right.
And it could be a very, well, see, the unfortunate part is there aren't a lot of Regents Parks.
No, there aren't.
See, Regents Park is extraordinary, and for people who can afford to go there, and even people, Medicare, you do have some Medicaid beds, I know that. And
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of Medicaid beds.
do you really?
There are...
They may not start that way. Maybe then they move into Medicaid.
Right. That's what happens. We have 180 beds total, and 66 or 68 are just certified for Medicare. Those are our short-term rehab. All of the beds are certified for Medicare, but the 66 or 68, they're strictly Medicare. All the rest of the beds are Medicare and Medicaid. So if you move into the long-term unit, whether you're even private pay, most of them will eventually convert to long-term Medicaid. And a lot of them come in Medicaid.
Did you know, and you've been in this business, I'll call it a business, this whole, I guess, business, for so many years, that there were times when someone ran out of money that they had to remove the person? Did you know that?
No.
Oh, yes. I was here.
Well,
years
that would be
ago.
true because...
Oh, yeah. There were no Medicaid
if
beds.
it wasn't in a Medicaid bed...
And they had to leave.
They'd have to leave.
And they'd have to find a place or something. I mean, it was really rough, and it was very sad, and nobody knew what to do about it. But thank goodness we're not at that point anymore, and you do such a great job there, and I love when you come in to tell us about it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We remember this is Leslie Curtis. She is the Director of Business Development, and really for everything, at Regents Park of Boca. Phone number, again, is 561-483-9282. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.